Right, okay, I'm in the garage. And it's a bank holiday weekend, and me and the wife have done a deal, and I'm going to get a good couple of days worth of work on this now. So I'm hoping I'm gonna get a load of stuff done. So I'm gonna start. I haven't got all of the bits I need, which is a real shame, but you know, life is like that. I've got quite a lot of bits. So I'm going to start with the wiring then, okay? So I've got the battery, fantastic, and TV units down here and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to start wiring everything in for the two batteries and all of the electrics. Okay, now I'm not going to video me actually doing the wiring because I've just got to knuckle down and get on with it really. So I'm just going to do a quick video now saying this is what I'm going to do, and then what I'll do excuse me, I'll explain exactly what I have done and how I've wired it well in a little while. Okay, so I'll catch up with you in a bit. Okay, don't judge my mediums I'm using here. So this is a just very quickly, just giving you an idea, this is a jump post. Okay, so just to cut the bolts in there really, really tight so they're not going to come undone. And then we're going to bolt this up there. Okay, bear with me, it will make sense, I think. So we're cracking on. Now this might look like a right mess to you, and but don't worry about that. We'll tidy it up afterwards. Point is, it's functioning well. However, we have had a slight disaster, and this is stupidity on my part to do with the fridge. What a fool. I've just been thinking about things as I've been doing the wiring, and I'm thinking, hold on a minute, this doesn't make sense, and now I understand why. Oh, what a disaster. Never mind, we can overcome. Let me show you what we've done so far. Now, excuse the mess, you know, functionality is what we're after here. So what we've got our auxiliary battery that's connected in. I've got a little TV unit down there. Now, I said I'd explain why I was going to put that down there. This is the pickup, like the digital TV pickup. Now, as you all know, with digital TV, a lot of it is about getting your aerial. Well, it's all about getting your aerial in the right place. So I'm not going to. Here's my aerial here. I'm not going to mount the aerial. I'm going to leave it under the seat on its cable. And then if you park up and you want to get a signal somewhere, you can then take the aerial out and you can place it in different places to try and pick something up. So that is my plan with that TV unit. I haven't tested it in here yet. I could now because it is actually wired up now. Maybe I'll do that in a minute. I don't know whether I'll pick anything up in the garage anyway. Okay, so TV unit is in, fantastic, great. Auxiliary battery's wired in. What I've done with the auxiliary battery then, so the wire runs across the back here, out the back of there. Oh, blimey, nearly fell over. Runs across the back here up to this side, which is my van battery. And yeah, yes, we're making things out of wood. It's fantastic, easy to use. So I've got a little jump point here. Now this relay cuts in at 13.3 volts, cuts out at 12.8 volts. What happens with this relay then is it's voltage sensing both sides. So one side is connected to this battery and one side is connected to the other battery. And if the voltage drops below 12.8 volts, then it separates, if you see what I mean. Okay, and then if the voltage goes up above 13.3 volts, then it connects up the two batteries again. So what that means is if I'm driving down the road and I'm charging this battery up with the alternator and it goes above 13.3 volts, it will charge up the battery on that side. But if you sat still, because all of the electronics are coming off of that battery over there, if you're sat still somewhere and you're using all of your power up out of that battery, as soon as the voltage drops below 12.8 volts, it separates so nothing else gets drained out of this battery. Make sense? Of course it makes sense. And now it volts in both ways. So if I charge this battery, which obviously we will with the charger, when the voltage goes above 13.3 volts, we'll charge up this battery as well. Okay, perfect, absolutely perfect. Good, so that's all wired in. So then that's all good. There's nothing else under this seat apart from the relay. So everything then disappears off down the back here. And now then, this is where it starts to get a little bit messy here. So I've got another jump point here. And this is just so I can take off lots of feeds off of it. Now, the amount of current running around this bus is minimal. The fridge is the biggest consumer, and that pulls about 4.5 amps off of 12 volts, I think. So I figured it out. But what we will do is, once this is all up and running, we'll check all of our current. So I'll get an amp meter and we'll go around and we'll check everything and we'll see what everything consumes. It'll be quite interesting, I think, won't it? The biggest current, I guess, is going to be from the charger here, I suppose, but that's not drawing it, that's putting it back in, isn't it? Anyway, so here is my spider's web, and all I'm doing now, I've only got 10 amp fuses because that's all I've got at the minute, so I've got to get some correct size fuses, but everything is currently running off of 10 amp fuses at the minute, and I'm just going to leave them, I'm just going to connect them up like this. I'm neatening it up a bit, but I'm not going to have a fuse box as such. They're just going to be loose. Okay, excuse the wire colours. I'm using what I've got. So what happens here? We go round to the back. Oh, we can sit down. I've got my little control panel. Look at my control panel. It's beautiful. So that's the voltage level of the auxiliary battery, and that is the voltage level of... Oh, I'm doing a video, man. Do you want to come? Do you want to be in the video?
No, I don't. I've got my dressing gown.
You got your dressing gown on. Do you want to see my wife in a dressing gown?
I think you don't.
No, they don't. They said no. Sorry. Back again. So, here's my control panel then, and I've got then lights. So that switches on all the lights. It also, because I only bought one power down from the roof, and the TV was on the... I connected up the voltages up in the corner there. The TV is also on that switch as well. Okay, so... Ooh. Oh. Look at this, it's great, isn't it? So TV, fridge is getting cold, but this is where I've made my mistake. So what I've done with the stereo is I've put the ignition feed to the radio to the switch panel at the back here. So it's got its permanent live, which I'll show you in a minute, but the ignition feed I've brought back to here. Okay, and I've done the same with the TV unit. It has an ignition feed and or an auxiliary feed and a permanent feed. So I've given it a permanent feed over there, and I've put the auxiliary feed over here. And the last one here is for the water pump that's not actually fitted yet, and the igniter for the gas. Okay, so that's that, and it's also got in here a couple of USB charging points in there as well. Nice, lovely, neat little unit there. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. So where's my balls up then? Let me show you my balls up in the spirit of the bus. Well, first off, before we spirit of the bus and all the rest of it, no. So my permanent live then for the radio and my permanent live for the TV unit, I've put to a switch here, so I can switch them off if I want to. So if I switch this off, I'm not going to switch it off because I've stored some stations on the radio and I don't want to lose them. But if I switch that switch off there, then it turns off the permanent power supply to this and that. So if it's parked up for a long period of time, I can just turn them off. Okay, so it's all making sense. It's all working pretty good. Well, it's all working perfectly at the minute. We're still halfway through. Right, the problem with the fridge then, what have I done to the fridge, or with the fridge? It's got it's a what you call a three-way fridge, as we said, gas, electric and electric. But it's got a self-ignite thing, so if the gas goes out, it will self-ignite itself. But when you're using the fridge, you've got to turn off all of the other supplies. So if you're using the gas, you have to turn off all of the voltage supplies. If you're using a 12 volt, you have to turn off the gas. You know, you've got to muck around with it. And I was just wiring it up, and I was thinking, well, hold on a minute. If I turn this fridge off, how's it going to ignite itself? And I've looked back through the bloody instructions, and there's another little connector on the back of the fridge, just for this fridge, that I didn't realise it had. I just didn't read the instructions properly. So I've got to take the thing out just to put a blooming a ground and a 12 volt lead coming out of it, which is a right pain in the arse. But it's not the end of the world, is it? It's one of those things. So I'm going to crack on. That's got to come back out. I've got to get another couple of wires out the back of that thing. I've had a change of heart with the gas as well, which is what my wife told me ages ago, but because I very rarely listen to what she's saying, I've only just sort of registered what she said now, and it makes sense now. And the idea with that is, what's the point of carrying a huge bottle? Right? The only reason I'm using this bottle is because that's off the barbecue. Well, I've got a couple of these, and so I figured I'd use it. But in reality, if I got half or a smaller bottle, I don't need a big bottle. It will be carrying less weight around, and it'll be a lot easier to change it as well. So I need to go and get another bottle of gas now. Now I haven't got, well, I don't know. We'll see what we can do. So I'm going to crack on, and I'll speak to you in a while. Bye. Okay, right. So where are we? We're having a bit of an issue at the moment. So, fridge. Remember I said about the fridge a little while ago with it hasn't got anything for self-igniting. Well, I've had a look at the instructions, and I've had a look. What I did is I took the vent off on the bus. It's easier than taking the fridge out, and you can get to the back. And I've taken off the cover plates and that at the back and everything else, and I cannot see anywhere for that to connect. So I wonder whether or not they've given me the fridge without an auto lighting facility. So I've got to speak to them on Tuesday it'll be now, won't it, about that, and see what's going on with that side of it. So that, fine. I've left the vent off in a minute so I can get to the back of it, no problem at all if they say something else. So that's good. So the fridge in itself is sorted out so far as we can go. I've completely finished the wiring now, so everything is wired in. I still haven't tested the TV because I've got no batteries for the remote, but I've just bought some. So I can try that in a little while. But wiring side, everything is done. So everything is plumbed in. What I've done over here is, so with my plug, I've just put a plug on it for now because that's going to be a flush mount one. But I've done it so I can plug the 240 volt into the van and try it out. And I have just put the 240 volt into the van to try it out. But I don't think I'm getting anything out of my battery charger. So I'm looking at my voltmeters and I switch it off and on and it makes no difference at all. Now I would expect it to charge up at the voltage level that the batteries are on at the moment. But it's not. Now I don't know whether this unit's any good because I took it out of my old caravan. And it's been in there and the caravan's been parked up for a long time without a battery on it. So it hasn't been used for an awful long time. I just assumed it was working. So that's something that we are going to have to investigate. So we'll have to, I'll check this out. I don't know if there's an internal fuse in it or anything like that to worry about, but it's all wired incorrectly. So it ought to work. It's just not working. Or it doesn't appear to be working. It's too low. The voltage is way too low. I'd expect that to jump up. Oh, which is a right pain in the arse. Really, isn't it? That means I'm going to have to get another battery charger if this one's duff. Which is a shame because I was hoping that would do the job. But you know, there's nothing I can do about that in a minute, so I'm going to ignore that at the moment. But I will have a look at it at some point or other. But everything else is working. So the fridge now, so here's my fridge wiring. So my fridge is plugged in here, and that works great. We have 240 volt now on the fridge. Oh, hold on, yeah, it is turned off, that one. So the fridge is good and wired into 240.